Hello and welcome back to Picks and Portraits. Today, we're going to be continuing our exploration of retrofuturism in video games with a look at early home console gaming. Now, this period is going to overlap a bit with our previous episode, where we covered the origins and early years of the arcade. We also looked at what the future was during this period in that video. You can check that out for more context on that. In this video, we are going to be covering the mid-1970s up until the early 80s, when video games were still considered to be the space-age toys of tomorrow. Before we get into that though, this and every video on this channel was made possible by our patrons over at patreon.com/picksandportraits. This channel is not monetized. We are completely funded by our patrons, and in exchange offer a ton of exclusive videos and series like Feature Film, looking at retrofuturism in movies. $5 a month gets you access to that and dozens of other videos and helps keep these videos and Sleepcore coming out regularly. That is patreon.com/picksandportraits. With that plug out of the way, let's head back to the future. Previously, we saw the launch of the Magnavox Odyssey, the first home video game console. This came out in 1972 and was very primitive. It could only display 3 dots and a line on the screen and relied heavily on overlays you would actually stick to your TV and a lot of imagination. Now, because early graphics were so simple, we have been relying on marketing for our futuristic ideas or aesthetics. We will continue doing that this time. The term video game had not actually been coined yet, and so the Odyssey was promoted as the electronic game of the future, which was obviously true, seeing where gaming has gone. The Odyssey was sold throughout 1975 and spawned several different versions after. Over the next few years, multiple consoles were released in the Odyssey series. I couldn't really find a lot on these, but with every new iteration, performance was improved and new games were added. The Odyssey also spawned several competitor consoles. There was the Coleco Telstar system, first released in 1976. It had 3 preloaded games you could literally switch between: tennis, hockey, and handball. Like the Odyssey, multiple consoles were released with improved specs or different games. These consoles also came with their own unique controllers or peripherals. Marksman came with a rifle, as you see here. The Telstar Arcade combined a few different games and accessories: a steering wheel for racing, a gun for a shooter, classic tennis, Pong. Most of these consoles we've looked at so far just come with preloaded games. That's why so many consoles were released. They couldn't just offer new software, so an entire new console was needed with new games already on it. This changed with the Fairchild Channel F. This was the first console that used game cartridges that could be swapped out, video carts. These were numbered and followed a similar design. For our purpose, we are going to be looking at Video Cart 13, Robot War, as well as 23, Galactic Space Wars. 13's cover has this robot on it that looks very similar to Star Wars R2-D2, while 23 has a classic spaceship design. While this art is interesting, the actual gameplay for both leaves a lot to be desired aesthetically. Again, the covers and advertisements for these games were a lot more detailed than the in-game graphics. Last time, we talked about Atari and Pong in the arcade. In 1975, Pong came home. Atari entered a deal with retail giant Sears to release the home version of Pong exclusively through their stores. These would be branded with the Sears Telegames label. This success led to the release of Atari's first home console, the Atari VCS, later known as the 2600. For many, this is where home console gaming really began. This overlapped with the golden age of arcade games, and many of the console's classic games were simply ports from the arcade. The Atari offered home versions of Space Invaders, Asteroids, Defender, all of which we've already covered. The great thing about Atari and its popularity is it gives us some actual material to work with. Video, commercials. You are seeing one here for the Flash Gordon-like Space Cavern from 1982. Something else unique to Atari is the fact that they were releasing games for both the 2600 and for Sears Telegames. Here is the 2 versions of the iconic Space War. Same game, different marketing. Atari's success proved the market was there for home console gaming and spawned a ton of competition from rival consoles like the Bally Astrocade, which had some pretty amazing games set in the future. A lot of these are just clones of other popular games, but all seem to have a date set in the future attached to them, like Astro Battle 2009, a Space Invaders clone. The 2009 is apparently the model number, similar to the Channel F numbered carts. Still sounds futuristic. Star Battle 2005, whose cover pretty shamelessly rips off Star Wars. Gameplay is basically the trench run from the end of A New Hope. 1981's Space Fortress 2012, another clone. These last two, Astrocade games, may fall out of our 1982 timeline. I saw multiple dates. Some said 81, 82, others said 83. I thought, why not add them here? Solar Conqueror 2018 and Cosmic Raiders 2019, which is very similar to Defender. After several models of the Odyssey were released, Magnavox introduced the Odyssey 2 in 1978. This had a great tagline in its marketing: the excitement of a game, the mind of a computer. Like the first incarnation, the company logo is also very futuristic. Some retrofuturistic games include Space Monster, yet another Space Invaders clone, Cosmic Conflict, and Invaders from Hyperspace, both from 1978. These both have some awesome futuristic aesthetics, especially the cover of Hyperspace. Great stuff. In 1979, the Intellivision was released, arguably the second most popular console from this period. Intellivision, a portmanteau of Intelligent and Television from toymaker Mattel. They had this classic ad that we've used before in Sleepcore. It's the Galactic News, where they present upcoming releases as breaking news in the future. There was also Space Battle, Astro Smash, Space Armada, Star Strike, which is a lot like Star Battle or Star Wars, Space Hawk. As I'm sure you have noticed, there is a lot of similarities between these releases and consoles. Star Battle, Space whatever, Star whatever. A lot was being released, and much of it was similar, if not just complete rip-offs of what the other companies were offering. Still, more consoles coming. The last one we are going to mention is the ColecoVision, released in 1982. It's space or future game, Cosmic Avenger, space shooter. Some pretty amazing, or comparatively speaking, amazing graphics. We fly and battle through a futuristic city with domes, bright colors. With so many games being released on various different consoles, the market quickly became extremely saturated. Couple that with a lack of quality control, and the industry was headed towards a collapse, which we will be looking at next time: the crash of the video game industry as well as its rebirth throughout the 1980s. Now, this was not meant to be exhaustive, so let me know if there was anything that I missed. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and again, if you had the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a new feature film looking at Mike Judge's Idiocracy. We just did an episode on Death Sports of the Future as well. We have others on RoboCop 2001, tons of great features and movies. $5 a month gets you access to those videos and dozens more, and helps keep all of this going. That is patreon.com/pixandportraits. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.